Hey guys, Ewok Pilot here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the British Mark V World War I heavy tank from Brickmania. This is set BKM481 and it was released back in February of 2025 for an eye-watering $375 for only 759 pieces. So yeah, that is a tough pill to swallow. So today we're going to go and see if that was worth it. As you can see, it is rated a 3 out of 5 in terms of building difficulty skill level. I'm not exactly sure what that means, especially after building it. You can see the packaging is actually very, very nice. That's one of the nice things about Brickmania is a very premium feeling packaging. You got this nice render of the model here on the front, and on the back, of course, you've got this really nice piece of art showing it in what looks kind of like a World War I battlefield a little bit. As you can see, it includes one minifigure. It did come with the option to increase it to a full tank crew of 5. However, that significantly increased the price, and I was just not willing to do that. Let's go ahead and open it up and see what we've got inside. As you can see, first we remove this nice protective layer of shrink wrap in order to get to our box, and then actually the real box is underneath this sleeve that has all the artwork on it. It's actually a lot more difficult to get off than I expected it to be, but eventually it did come off. And then we're left with this nice brown decorative box that looks like a wooden crate, which I think fits the theming pretty well. And then of course inside that you have individually packed bags. Sadly they're not numbered, which is something I expected just based off of my experience with the Brick Veteran. But I guess for this particular model of Brickmania, they decided not to go with numbered bags. A little annoying because it's almost 800 pieces, and I am paying almost $400 for this. I would at the very least expect it to have numbered bags. But at the end of the day, not the end of the world. It is just a little inconvenient, especially for the insanely high price that you're already paying for this premium product. We've also got this nice printed instruction manual, which is really, really high quality. But to make another comparison to the Brick Veteran, it isn't bound like the Brick Veterans is with metal binding, and there's also no printed facts or information about the actual vehicle that this model is based on, which I thought was really weird and a pretty simple inclusion they could have done that would have really elevated this product a bit. Once again, it doesn't ruin the product or anything, but you're paying a lot of money for this, and that little bit of extra effort would have gone a long way. With all of that extra information out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at the tank itself, which looks absolutely incredible. This looks like it came straight out of Battlefield 1, and it looks so amazing from the turrets to the machine guns coming out of the sides, the front, and the back, to just the giant shreds that cover the whole thing and the nice printed details all over it. I am just in love with how this tank looks. You can see as I spin it around that there's just detail everywhere, from all of the prints to all of the built-in detail to even just the studs looking like rivets that would have been on the actual tank itself. There's just so much detail to unpack in this small little model here. And surprisingly, for a model this detailed from a custom seller, it is actually really sturdy. You can see I can just grab it from almost anywhere and just shake it around and it's not going to fall apart. It's good to know that this thing really is built like a tank. And like a tank, it has huge treads that span the entire body of the tank. They look incredible, but unfortunately they don't roll very well on smooth surfaces. They just aren't able to get very much grip due to them being pretty lightweight and plastic. But they do look really nice, and they do roll smoothly on a rough surface. But you can see I can move them, they can move. They just don't roll very well on smooth surfaces. We also have these nice printed details all around, which is great to get, especially because you're paying so much money. It's nice that every detail that you have that isn't brick built, it is a print, not a sticker. There are no stickers in this set, which is great. They are UV printed, so you can see there's a bit of a texture to them, but there are quite a few prints in this set. You can see we've got prints for numbers, prints for flag detail, and also some rivet detail on the bottom, but to me those kind of look a little bit like cookies. I don't know if the detail came out as well as they wanted it to there, but it does look pretty nice. It is on both sides as well, so all of the prints that you'll find are actually mirrored for the opposite side. And then the last two prints we have are just these two hatches on the front. They're just printed on little 1x1 tiles. They look pretty nice, and they get the job done, I think. And of course, a staple of these British tanks from World War I, we have these giant cannons on the side for gunners to use, and also machine guns on the sides as well. The giant cannons are on both sides. They can be articulated side to side pretty easy. There's no up and down movement. These little machine guns on the side, unfortunately, there is no movement on those. We've got these hatches that you can enter, which if you're a player of Battlefield 1 like I am, that's pretty familiar to you. Yeah, unfortunately, these machine guns can't be articulated at all on the sides, but on the front, you can see you can articulate that up and down, and also on the rear as well. There's another machine gun back there that you can also articulate up and down, but unfortunately, no articulation on the side gunners. I wish there was some way that could have been implemented, but just the way it's built, there's no way you could have moved that. And as you can see, the underside's pretty barren, no detail down there. It's just to allow the treads to move. Those cannons on the side are actually built in quite an interesting and unconventional way. As you can see, when I removed this little corner wedge here, you can see it's actually just being held in by friction. There's two 1x1 round plates under there that are holding it in place and allow it to move side to side. And of course, if I take that out, it actually gives you access to see some interior detail you won't see otherwise. If you're a fan of Battlefield 1 and played the campaign through Mud and Blood, you'll recognize that little crankshaft right there that I don't even remember what his name is, but he spins it while yelling angrily and it gets the tank to turn back on. That's a really cool little bit of detail, even though you won't see it most of the time. And then as you can see, you just put this back. You actually have that little stopper back there that doesn't allow it to turn too far, which is good because you don't want it like turning around and looking silly. And then you just place this little wedge right over it and it covers it back up and allows it to move freely. And our last little section of note on this model is this top hatch right here. As you can see, you just reach your finger in there and pull it up, and then you've got this figure that we have included, and you can just put his arms up, sit him down, and he looks like he's sticking his head out of the hatch just to get a better look, because of course you can't see very well out of those giant metal boxes. And as you can see, he kind of just rests on the back of that machine gun right there. That's why you can't put him standing up. But he does look like he's standing up. He wouldn't actually be sitting down on that machine gun in real life. I think that this position looks pretty good if that's how you want to display it. I personally really won't, and you can just close it back up pretty easily. It is a bit of a tight fit, but it works. And then of course we have those two little front hatches that we have those printed tiles on. Those can also both open up as they would in real life to allow the gunners to be able to see out a little bit better, the gunner and the driver. But of course during combat you would want those closed because you don't want any enemy machine gunner rifle fire getting through those holes and wrecking a bunch of havoc inside the tank. And they can close right back up just like that. And lastly, we have included in this set is our minifigure. He is fully UV printed all the way around 360 except for the insides of the legs, and the arms are not printed. But other than that, he is fully printed all the way around. He's got plenty of nice looking detail. Looks very accurate to the real uniform that these British tank drivers and gunners would wear. And he's got this nice little mask that is, I believe it's 3D printed, but it might be injection molded. It looks like you can see a little bit of layer lines to me, but either way, it looks great. It is hardly noticeable. All of the UV print looks very good, very high quality. It is a little bit fuzzy just because of that texture you get with UV printing, but it is really nice. And of course, underneath that mask, you have this really nice looking face. It looks really, really good, and I am really, really happy with this figure included in this set. So overall, I am very happy with this set. I'm happy that I own it, but I do not see this for $375. That price just doesn't seem worth it to me. There aren't enough printed pieces for it to be justified. The build isn't really super complex. The minifigure isn't the highest quality. It's not pad printed. And then of course, the packaging and the instructions aren't the most premium. There's a few missed opportunities there. I feel like this set would have been a bit more fair at probably around $200, knowing how hard it is to make custom stuff and still give it premium packaging and everything. But overall, I am still happy that I own this model. I do think it's a good model, and I do think that Brickmania makes some pretty good stuff. I just don't know if it's worth the prices that they're charging for it. But if you'd like to see me review more of their products, please let me know by liking this video and leaving a comment down below saying what else you would want to see me review from them. And of course, I'll see you all in the next video.